What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. So, this video might expose some generational disconnect as far as individuals that you're aware of. If you're under 30, definitely under 25, you might not know who I'm talking about. Because look, let's just be honest and frank. If you're an coming of age teenage boy, all you need is internet. Back in my day, you had to go through a little bit more effort to get your hand on some TNA. Okay, had to go through a little bit more effort, and if you weren't fortunate to own a VHS cassette player back then, well, VHS video player, I mean, back in those days, then you had to use books. I'm being honest, okay? I'm being honest. You know, we all remember those days when we were teenagers. Uh, if you're older than I am, and you came of age in the 70s and 80s, then you're very aware who Larry Flynt is, or now was, being that news has come out today that he's passed away at his home at the age of 78. Um, the cause of death apparently was heart failure. He passed away at his home in Los Angeles. Larry Flynt was one of America's most notorious pornographers, and he was a self-styled proclaimed champion of First Amendment freedom. He built his sprawling business interests on the hardcore raunch and grotesque parody of what was Hustler magazine. Repeatedly sued, prosecuted, jailed for contempt, gagged for obscene outbursts in court, and in 1978 infamously shot and paralyzed by a would-be assassin and serial killer and white supremacist, who, by the way, shot him because he was appalled that Hustler magazine had an interracial spread. Shot him and his lawyer. If you're not familiar with who Larry Flynt was, then I would advise you to got some time. Check out this movie that came out. I think it was in 1996, and it was called "The People versus Larry Flynt," and it talks about the case that was made. I think it was against Larry Flynt, and I think the case came from Jerry Falwell, who didn't like a parody of him it was a parody of him, the interview, parody interview of him talking about, I think, having sex, what was it, with a sheep in his mother's outhouse or something like that. Got some details. But he took offense to that. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. It's actually happened. But if you have a chance, check out that movie. Woody Harrelson played him. It was a great movie. Courtney Love played his girlfriend in that movie. It was a really good movie. Might watch it again, just uh, you know, on the heels of this news. After the shooting, he used a wheelchair, gold plated and velvet lined to his specifications. I remember reading that not too long after he was shot, he became a born again Christian after being converted by Jimmy Carter's sister, who was a born again Christian, evangelical Christian herself, evangelist. So for a year, he was a born again Christian, but he converted back to atheism soon afterwards. I remember reading that after his shooting, he suffered excruciating pain. I think the bullet caused extensive spinal cord damage. He became addicted to pain medications, and an overdose of these pain medications caused him to suffer a stroke, which he recovered from. But that's one of the reasons why. That's the main reason why, when you hear Larry Flynt talk from the late '70s onward, he had that slur when he spoke, talk a little bit like this, as opposed to talking like this before he got shot. And I'm Larry Flynt, and I'm the I own Hustler, and don't like it, fuck you. No, but Hustler, whose circulation peaked above 2 million in late 1970s, thumbed its nose at sleeker skinned publications such as Playboy and Penthouse. Mr. Flynt proudly offered Hustler as a blue collar and taboo smashing alternative with its raw frontal nudity of men and women and crude cartoons. Playboy and Penthouse, he once told an interviewer, were parading their pornography as art with the airbrushing and the soft lens. I realized that if we could become more explicit, we could get a huge piece of this market. I sensed that raw sex was what men wanted, and I was right. Equally reviled and celebrated for his depictions of close up female genitalia, gang rape, bondage, bestiality, mutilation, and most famously, a naked woman being put through a meat grinder on the cover of the June 1978 Hustler. Mr. Flynt reveled in the nation's collective gasp at his pornographic daring do. Feminist Gloria Steinem branded him as violent, sadistic pornographer. First Amendment Act devotees embraced him as the Horatio Alger of the sexual revolution. Excuse me. I'll just read through this article. Beyond smut peddling, Mr. Flynt presented a multi-layered and sometimes unexpected public persona. He opposed the death penalty. He favored gay marriage. He spoke out against the U.S. invasion of Iraq in 2003. He published numerous non-pornographic mainstream periodicals. A private foundation he created contributes to research in spinal cord injuries, child abuse, and youth violence. What I remember about him too is I remember back when Bill Clinton was going through his situation with Monica Lewinsky, and you had all of these Republicans who were crying foul and trying to play, all high and mighty, holier than thou. And it was Larry Flynt that I think he was offering like $1 million for people to find dirt on these uh, these Republican officials who were, calling Bill Clinton everything, in the world. You know what I'm saying? And Bill Clinton is a fucking piece of shit pervert. But then you find out that Henry Hyde, high-ranking Republican at the time, Henry Hyde, he was constantly having affairs, on his wife. Then you found the Speaker of the House, Hastert, who maybe right now, as I'm speaking, is being smacked like Colonel from Boogie Nights by a black dude. This dude was fucking a pedophile, literally a pedophile. Speaker of the fucking House of Representatives, Dennis Hastert, I think his name is. So was he a pervert? Yeah, I guess Larry Flynn was a pervert, but he also did a lot of good things, and it's not up to me or anybody else to judge him or where he's gone. Um, he was pretty much the first guy I could think of, because like you said, Penthouse would show the private area, but it would only show really pubic hair. Penthouse was similar to Playboy. Hustler was the first mag to really show what a pussy looks like. You know what I'm saying? Do you know how important that is for a young boy to really know what a fucking juicy wet pussy looks like? And yeah, I know I'm on YouTube, but god damn it, that's the fucking truth. No artsy fartsy shit. I want to see a big wet fucking pussy. So thank you, Larry Flint, for your contribution. You don't fit in today's world, and maybe fittingly, You ride off into the sunset as we go into this Me Too, You Too, they, them, I'm a victim, let's blame men for everything world, movement that we're in right now. So, you know, and I never bought into some of the allegations against him. I think he was being extorted by his daughter. Um, his daughter claimed that he molested her when she was a child. But when you look into the situation, his daughter was a compulsive liar, extortion artist, drug addict, and Larry Flynt passed multiple lie detectors, uh, which pretty much exonerated him. And I never believed that bullshit. But anyway, Larry Flynt dead at the age of 78. Tell me what you guys think.